Got it. Insane Games TV, brought to you by the power of Insane Games in the Wilton Mall.
Insane in the membrane, brother.
Original scheduled programming is about to begin.
It's really a shame that we couldn't get like Hulk Hogan to do like a commercial for us.
Alright, and we're back, everyone, behind Ring the Bell podcast, take 2. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Still not quite sure what it was, but we ended up just giving everything the pillow and just letting everything restart.
Speaking of the pillow,
this is the wrestling podcast.
Speaking of the pillow, they should give the pillow to Sami Zahn.
Yeah, so let's try our hot take again. We're gonna do a condensed version. We already talked about it multiple times. I'm sick of Sami Zayn. I don't know what his storyline is. If he's going to be a wrestler, be a wrestler. If you're gonna be a manager, be a manager. He's going from Raw to SmackDown. He's all over the place.
I mean, it pretty much goes hand in hand with what they're doing. We said this 3 times already, but with Samoa Joe, at the announce table, I just feel like there's sometimes. And WWE makes this so apparent where they just don't know what to do with guys. And it's just so obvious. So, fix it. That's what I would say.
Laughing at a comment. What's your hot take? What do you got? Let's jump into that.
So, my hot take for this week is they just announced the people that are going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame for WWE. Not all of them, but 2 of them, the NWO and Batista. And when I was watching it, they said the NWO had 4 original members. Now, I only remember the NWO having 3. Hulk Hogan, Scott Hall, and Kevin Nash. But now they're throwing in X-Pac in there like he's an original member of the NWO. Now, granted, I know he was part of the NWO for a time in WCW, but I don't think he's one of the original members. And I find it very stupid that they not only put him in the Hall of Fame for the NWO, but they also put him in the Hall of Fame for DX. And the funny thing is that I don't think he's good enough to just be a singular person in the WWE Hall of Fame himself. So I think maybe they're just trying to, push him into these groups, these factions, to be in the Hall of Fame because they don't think he can actually make it himself. And, I just think it's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to defer to you when it comes to the NWO knowledge in WCW because.
Well, I mean, NWO was also part of WWE.
Right,
I mean,
but you don't see.
Yeah,
you don't see Shawn Michaels. You don't see the Big Show. And I may be wrong. But was Billy Gunn part of NWO for a little bit?
I don't think so. There was at one point in WCW there was probably like 25 people that were part of the NWO, and then they split them up and made them into the Wolf Pack, where Kevin Nash was the leader of the Wolf Pack, which. By the way, one of my all-time favorite intro songs was the Wolfpack, NWO Wolfpack theme song. If you ever get a chance, listen to it. You could literally bump to that at the gym, on your way to work. It's just great.
Can we get an impression?
You love watching or listening.
Can we get an impression? Coming to from the Wolfpack, something like that. I don't fucking remember. I just know it was a great song.
I'm looking to see.
WCW, the video game, the one with Goldberg on it, had the Wolfpack theme song in there. Also a classic.
You know who I'm thinking of. You know who part of it for a while was Booker T. Booker T was part of. That's right. I kept thinking.
That's when the NWO was dying in the WWE. That's when it needed to die.
He joined May 13, 2002, expelled on June 10, 2002. So not even barely under a month. And then Big Show, they had Big Show as an original member. I don't know what that means, but
I don't understand that.
But yeah,
because he was in WCW, he was always fighting them.
Right. So I get what you're saying. I don't know why. When I saw the photo WWE posted with the original 3 members in X-Pac, I was kind of like, why is X-Pac on it? But
Because when you watch when the NWO formed, X-Pac wasn't there. It was just the three of them: Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and Hulk Hogan.
Right.
There was no X-Pac. There was no anybody else. It was just the three of them.
Yeah, so I get what you're saying there. I think it should just be the original. If you're gonna open it up to X-Pac, you should open it up to all NWO members. But
might as well open up to every single member of NWO ever, which makes no sense.
Yeah. So all right. So that's the hot takes here for the Ring the Bell podcast for this episode 2. Going into news, a little bit of news throughout the week. First off, WWE. When in regards to its battles with AEW, and with now that there being a second option for wrestlers to go to, a lot of wrestlers have wanted to opt out of their contract. WWE has been very adamant about not allowing that, but this week they did open up and allow the wrestlers that have been asking to out of their contracts. First to go was Sin Cara. Sin Cara was one of the first ones to go. Luke Harper, the second one to go. The Ascension, I don't know if the Ascension is actually, I would have to look. I don't know if they were disputing their contracts and wanted out.
They wanted out.
But I don't think they ever purposely said they wanted to go to AEW or wanted to look for other promotions. But they did let them out with their contract. They have a 90-day no-compete clause. So
which a lot of the wrestlers that come from WWE do.
So they have a 90. Actually, I'm surprised it wasn't longer, to be honest. I kind of think 90 days isn't that long. I mean, in 3 months these guys can sign with AEW, but at the same time.
Yeah, but the thing is that some of those guys I don't even think should sign with AEW. I think I saw a comment regarding like these guys being released, and I kind of agree with it. Like AEW should not be signing these guys that didn't work out in WWE. They should be signing guys that are really hot on the indie scenes and use them to kind of be the platform to get these guys noticed, not bringing in, because then they're just going to end up being the second WWE if they're just bringing all these guys in from WWE. And
right.
I don't think that's what their program is about. I think they're about being different and being more authentic to wrestling, where WWE is more of a show.
Right. I believe, I think AEW has a certain, I think...
They have a niche. They have a niche market, for sure.
But I think you've heard me vent my frustrations with why I don't like AEW and how... Which is how, build your own promotion. Build a promotion, and I think they have a good thing going, but I don't like how they're building it with the argument of everything they do is against WWE. They're going to do that, we do this.
They have to. That's what's going to make them different.
You can do it without referencing WWE every time you do it. And that's the one thing I don't like about Jericho. That's the one thing I don't... That's a whole other topic. But what I'm saying is...
That's the whole purpose, though, is that when you're competing against someone, they have to get brought up. Like the XFL, they're going to bring up the NFL.
Are they?
That's how it's going to be. Because they're competing technically with each other.
Yeah, I guess. I just don't.
I actually like when they bring up WWE. I think it's shots fired. I think it's great TV when they throw their little digs at WWE, and I wish WWE would do it back. I think that's more authentic to wrestling than anything.
Because WWE is much bigger. They don't have anything to gain by calling out AEW. AEW has a lot to gain.
But they can pull headlines from it.
Yeah.
That's all. That's the whole purpose of wrestling is to get that wow factor, to get that. Like the reaction of the people, have people talk about it.
Right. Either way, it's probably if I had to guess, a morale reason they don't want. And again, you don't want someone with a bad attitude and bad morale backstage, walking around and causing problems, between other wrestlers and this and that. So I gotta imagine it was more of a we don't want to deal with this type of thing in our locker room. Let's move on from these guys. And again, if they're not using them, get rid of them. I mean, if you don't have a good storyline for Luke Harper, get rid of him. If he wants to go if he wants to go make a good, I mean, what are they gonna do? With all due respect, like you said, what are they gonna do at AEW that Luke Harper didn't do in WWE? Are they gonna make him some big lumberjack guy that no one knows from the woods? I mean, they've already done that. It failed. It was popular for a month and failed. There's certain guys, and I think Luke Harper is a good. He's a good second wheel character. He's a good guy to have in like a faction that's not the popular guy, but is there to do all the grunt work. You know what I'm saying? He's not a guy that's going to build himself as a single character. He's just not. Maybe in a tag team, but I don't think.
Like I thought he was great. I thought he was great with Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, I did too.
Sure.
Yeah, he was great in the what do they call? What were they called? God, why can't I think of the name? What was the family called?
Wyatt family.
The Wyatt family, yeah. He was good in the Wyatt family, and then once he left the Wyatt family, he wasn't good anymore. That's my opinion. So they let them all go, 90-day no-compete clause, so I'm sure some of them will end up over at AEW. But I did hear that Tony Khan is not spending a lot of money on salaries right now. They're happy with their group, so I don't know. Some of these wrestlers leaving WWE may not find greener pastures over at AEW. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. Which I mean, they could always go to Ring of Honor or TNA or
right. You can build yourself out.
There's a ton of other places that they could go. I think that would work out, in their favor. I mean, you say this all the time. What's the saying about Vince saying that they leave to build themselves back up to hopefully come back, whatever the case may be.
Well,
but
I think I've always said that where a lot of these wrestlers they leave and they go into like Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes would probably be extremely popular in WWE now if he came back. Don't think he ever would,
but he's probably never coming back.
Right, exactly. And you look at some of these other people, like the Hardys. They rebranded themselves completely, in over at TNA. And then they came back, and their character had a gimmick, had a thing, and we'll have to wait and see. Bobby Roode and Primo 30-day suspension for the wellness policy. Don't know what drugs they were caught on, but 30-day first stage, first bump. They get their first mark. So you're going to see them off of TV for a little bit. So was Primo even being used? I don't think I saw Primo on much of anything.
I mean, honestly, I asked you the other day who the hell Primo was because I have no idea. I know he's part of Lucha House Party probably now. But, I mean, Bobby Roode, he's in like a stupid storyline anyways with Roman Reigns. So that's another thing is that they're using him with Dolph Ziggler as a partner, and then as like
I didn't mind that team.
As Baron Corbin's like court gestures almost.
I didn't mind the Dolph Ziggler, Bobby Roode, Robert Roode. I'm sorry, they use now. I didn't mind that. I didn't mind that duo. I thought they had a good purpose for a while. It was kind of confusing, but I thought they had a purpose. But I don't know what they're going to do with Dolph Ziggler now. I mean, throw him in either the U.S. title reign or the Intercontinental belt because he can't be a world champion. So you're gonna have to throw him in.
Why do you say that?
Because they're not going to put the
world champion
once, 10 years ago. He's a great guy battling for the title, but he never gets it. So, what are you gonna do? So those guys on the 30-day wellness policy, so they got their first hit on that. 3 strikes, you're out. I think the second hit is a 60-day suspension. So right now they're on a 30-day. Last week, rating-wise, if you want to quick go through that, SmackDown was up a little bit. AEW beat NXT. But only by a couple thousand, but they finally got ahead of NXT. NXT was ahead of AEW for the 2 weeks prior, but
which I think it's going to stay consistent with that anyways. I don't think NXT is going to. I mean, I think the only reason why they were ahead of them was because they were adding guys and girls from SmackDown and Raw, right. And it was they were doing like a continued storyline between the 3 shows, and that's why you literally had to tune into those shows to completely understand why it was happening. But I do think that AEW is going to continue to be, second fiddle behind WWE, Raw and SmackDown in ratings. So
that could be. I agree. But they did tick up in the demographics. So in the 18 to 20, I think they 28 demographics demos. So is it 18 to 24?
I don't know. They have. I'm pretty sure you can customize your.
But they have the ratings are broken down by viewers and then by demos. And NXT caught AEW in the demos, but they lost in the average viewer. So to them, that's the TV business. But it does give you a little highlight of who's being more popular, who the growing trend is at the moment.
So who's number one? It was Raw or SmackDown?
Raw continues to be number one. They were in the high 2s.
Shocked by that.
SmackDown is actually catching them. I don't have the SmackDown and Raw ratings in front of me, but they're actually catching them.
Yeah, I mean, I think personally, I think that the SmackDown show is a lot better than the Raw show, storyline-wise and also time-wise. I think 2 hours just makes way more sense than 3 hours for me as a viewer.
Well, they do 3 hours for advertising money. That's how they get.
I understand.
That's how they get more money, and that's how they get more money with the.
And I mean, that's why I like AEW as well, because they do 2 hours and they primarily focus on, wrestling. They don't have they do a lot of the split screen as well as like SmackDown does, and they also they don't do as many advertisements as Raw and SmackDown do. It's all wrestling, which I enjoy. I mean, if you're a purist in wrestling, then it's nice to watch.
What did you just say? Purist?
If you're a wrestling purist, like a fan, like you like wrestling, the DNA of wrestling, then that's what you like. You're a purist. Sorry to drop some words on you that you didn't know and you had in your brain dictionary.
I'm trying to look up the exact ratings for Raw, for Raw, but I couldn't find them. So that's the news for the week. Kind of a quiet news. A lot of personnel news going through. John Morrison apparently is starting up. He has his first scheduled WWE appearance. I believe it's on a different show. John Morrison's first appearance back with WWE will be on The Bump. I'm guessing that is a WWE Network show, maybe at WWE The Bump. I click on it, but I don't feel like it. See what it is. So let's jump right into what happened on. Are you up to date on Raw?
Yep.
So let's jump in with the Raw recap. You kind of had the Lana, Rusev, Bobby Lashley storyline going on, and I can't really tell if I like the storyline, if I don't like it. It's classic wrestling drama.
I'm pretty sure everybody last week knows where I stand on this. I think it's just awful television.
So first off, if you haven't watched Raw, plug your ears. A lot of spoilers coming. But it was the big segment was the divorce court with Jerry Springer Lawler. I mean, so this is the type of thing that I don't like. This isn't, not to jump into another hot take, but I don't like just the way they word this stuff. Like, divorce court with Jerry Springer Lawler, really? It's so corny.
I didn't even know they said Jerry Springer Lawler.
It is so
Isn't
corny.
that copyright infringement?
I really don't know. It's just, I don't get it. They have Jerry Lawler out there officiating. First off, Jerry Lawler is
who barely can talk on the mic, mind you.
He is the commentator. So now, once again, you're pulling people out of their roles and bringing them over to do different things. But you have the divorce court hearing going on in the middle of the ring, and it's just like, it's one of those things where it's just like, ugh. Like, really, I get the creative aspect of it. I get that they're trying to do something different. I get, then you go back and you look at some of the things that are similar. Can you think of anything that was similar to the divorce between Lana and Rusev?
Well, they've done that storyline 15 times on Raw since 2000. So
they had the Lita and Edge. Lita and Edge did one. They had Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. Kane,
I'm pretty sure too.
Lita and Kane, Stephanie McMahon and Triple H. So again, it's not anything that they haven't done before. So I'm not trying to be overly like, this is so gross, but it's just, I think in this day and age, in the content that people are trying to consume,
I think my biggest thing is that the whole entire time Lana talks, it's cringeworthy. Mm-hmm. I just I cringe every time she talks because she doesn't know how to. I don't think she knows how to talk. Literally cut a promo. She's terrible at it, and I think the whole promo in general is just awful, and it seems very forced and fake, and I don't know. It's just terrible TV, like I said.
I agree. So what did you think of the overall promo this week? Were you a fan of it?
No.
No.
I mean, Rusev's great. I think Rusev's great, but the Bobby Lashley and Lana, that's not great. They're both of them together, not together. They're just both awful.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of it. Then you have the obviously the show is focusing on, you kind of have, I feel like the man Becky Lynch, I feel like she's not as popular as she was before. I think she's kind of cooled off a little bit, and I don't think, do you feel like, I don't know, I don't feel like there's not much going on with her and the whole drama, I don't know. So right now they got the whole I'm gonna botch the name. The Kabaki Warriors going up against Charlotte Kabuki Warrior going up against Charlotte.
I mean, honestly, the only thing that I liked about the whole entire show that was great was Kevin Owens. Like, I thought anytime his segments happened, they were great, and I like how Raw didn't do this prior to the past few years. Is where they keep the story going throughout the show. Where like they would have a segment, for instance, the one with Kevin Owens. A few years ago, they would have that segment and be done. But now they're having that segment and it's going on throughout the show, and they're sprinkling it in and keeping it consistent with what the show is all about. And I like that, and I appreciate it because, you know, not to go back in time, but WCW was notorious for doing that, and it just makes sense writing wise. And, you know, that ties in with the Kevin Owens segment turning Seth Rollins heel. I thought that was a great move. I think that needs to happen. I think Seth Rollins needs a fresh face, I guess you could say. And I used the AOP, I guess, see if it works out. Because I mean, what's new? Raw's already mashing everybody else together, so they might as well mash three other people together. So.
I mean, you know, this goes back with, you know, I sit and I look at Raw. Let me give you the quick rundown of Raw. You had the 4 women battling. Okay, you had the divorce segment, Lana, Rusev, and Bobby Lashley. You had Rey Mysterio versus AJ Styles with a brief appearance from Randy Orton. Drew McIntyre defeated Matt Hardy. Viking Raiders defeat Street Profits. You had
the Street Profits segment when they did the weekend after the Monday or whatever. That segment was hilarious. I died.
Also did the weekend update knockoff later in the show. Yeah, I didn't. I don't know. I thought that was funny. I laughed a little bit, but it wasn't really. I don't know. You had Aleister Black versus. Oh Jesus, these names are getting so bad. Akira Tozawa.
Jesus.
Did I say that right? I don't know. I didn't.
I mean, I'm not a big fan of Japanese wrestling, so.
Humberto Carrero versus Andre.
This should be a segment. Dan reading wrestlers' names from other countries. I'm awful with names.
We're gonna have to call Dave out here to read the names. He's great with all the wrestling names. Buddy Murphy against Zack Ryder. You had Eric Rowan versus local talent. I mean, when I look at that Raw, and when I look at that list of wrestling matches, do you see anyone that's really good on Raw?
And mind you, it's the Raw before TLC. Is TLC the SmackDown one, or is it the Raw? Oh, you know what? TLC is the SmackDown one. That's my bad. But still, it's really not interesting at all.
Is it? Because the TLC matches have the Kabuki Warriors versus Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair, so that's on there.
Oh.
Bray Wyatt versus The Miz. That's the main event. Roman Reigns versus King Corbin. SmackDown Tag Team Championship. New Day versus Arrival.
So I'm pretty sure it's all SmackDown, but they're sprinkling in some.
It just comes down with WWE does what they want to do. Habuki.
I thought it was Kabuchi.
Habuchi. Yeah, so
if there's anything that you're incredibly talented at, it's butchering names.
It's a trait that doesn't come to a lot of people. So we had the Seth Rollins. Obviously, Raw focused on a lot of Seth Rollins and him turning heel. He turned heel and joined up with the AOP. Do they have a name yet? No one knows, so we'll see how that goes.
Is AOP going to continue to speak Punjabi? Can they just speak English? That's also another thing that I really hate. If you're gonna have somebody speak a different language, at least put subtitles in there. Like help the audience out. We're just sitting here like idiots.
But I think they do that on purpose. I think that they're doing it on purpose.
But like it's so dumb because like I'm sitting here like I have no idea what AOP says. I have no idea what Rey Mysterio or Humberto Carrillo or Selena Vega is saying in Spanish. Sometimes it's just like, can we get some subtitles in this? Where most of the people are not English speaking consumers of wrestling, so. We need a little bit of help.
Look who you're talking about. You're talking about WWE. who are doing everything they can to expand outside of the U.S. market. They're going to have people saying other languages because they're trying to grow their Japan.
All I'm saying is just give me some subtitles. That's all I want.
It's just, you know, you got to...
Literally, I feel like half the show is like me not knowing what they just said because they're speaking a different language. Habuki Warriors always speak Japanese. Can we get some freaking subtitles? That's all I ask.
I don't... Yeah. Yeah. Actually,
I don't think it's that much to ask for subtitles. I didn't think it was a bad thing.
So let's go into to turn gears here. So that was Raw. I thought Raw was extremely boring. Even though the critics, I was reading the critics gave it a B- overall. I thought it was extremely boring.
I would give it a C. I thought SmackDown was a lot more interesting, and primarily that goes because of the Bray Wyatt segment. And also, I thought the Elias segment was hilarious, too.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. Let's jump into AEW for a minute. I watched... I was
watching... You actually watched it?
I watched it. I watched bits and pieces. I was watching the Chris Jericho segment. And...
Isn't he the best? He cuts the best promo.
Jericho is very good. You know, I was hating on Jericho last week.
Of Le Champion.
The lexicon of Le Champion.
It's amazing.
You got it.
Comes
the
up
Le
with
Champion.
Le Champion.
And they made the comment of the list. And all the fans were like, oh, and he goes, what is this, 2016? And you know, he is funny. I do laugh. He is creative, but he's always got that WWE punch right in the stomach. He
has to. He's the face of AEW. He's building a brand, regardless of if you like it or not. He puts.
I don't like
in
it.
Seats.
I do not like it.
I don't know why. Character. I think it's great for business. I think it's great for wrestling, the industry as a whole, and I wish they would do it more.
Be your own character, Chris Jericho, and
also I'm definitely for Chris Jericho versus Jon Moxley because they had some incredible matches when they were in WWE, and I think those two are probably the best ones in AEW right now. And I think it's great that he's actually fighting some, you know, actual good wrestlers besides like. Some of these guys, I have no idea who they are. Like that one guy that rides down on a skateboard with his face hat painted. I'm sure you'd have no idea who I'm talking about.
But. No, I don't. But
Dane is a classic AEW hater.
I'm not a hater.
You're so close-minded.
I'm a realist.
No, you're close-minded. There's a difference.
No, wrong. And you just like to pick anything that disagrees with me. So, you know I don't like AEW, so you're purposely going to like AEW. And you know I don't like Chris Jericho.
That's not necessarily true. I like AEW. I am my own person, Dan.
You know I don't like Chris Jericho and his segments and his huge head and how he doesn't look like he should be the champion.
You are the last person that should be making fun of someone's head size.
My head's not that big. Really?
I mean,
we went into this last week.
Your head is expanding, bro.
We went into this last week that your head doesn't fit your body at all. And we both know that.
My head fits my body way more proportionally than yours. I mean, at least I'm not sticking bones.
No. Whatever. So let's get into some drama I think going on, maybe behind the scenes with Matt Hardy.
That's it for AEW? That's all you watched?
What?
That's all you watched was the list?
No, yeah, I skimmed through some of it. But I figured if we have any AEW updates, it'll come from you.
I think Cody Rhodes cut a great promo on AEW as a whole.
So talk about it. So what happened over at AEW Dynamite?
How am I going to talk about it when you didn't see it?
I can throw in the comments as you're going.
Because I forget exactly what he said, but I find it great that, you know, he's basically coming off as the underdog, even though he's probably one of the most popular people in AEW right now. And I don't know if you know this, but he made a deal with Chris Jericho that he cannot challenge for the AEW championship anymore. So I'm curious to see how he's gonna find the loophole in that. So, but I thought the lexicon, what is it? The lexicon of Le Champion, great segment.
I thought it was good. I just hope they
Anytime Jericho comes on, it's gold. He's producing great TV.
Let's talk about
Maybe you should watch it more.
Let's talk about another wrestler that you cherish and love, Matt Hardy. Well, not as much as Jeff Hardy, but he is one of the Hardys. So what's going on with Matt Hardy?
He's getting the screw job. He's just coming on and then losing. He's being like a jobber. But I did find it hilarious when Drew McIntyre said, "Well, we know it's your kid because he's cross-eyed, just like you." I almost fell off my seat.
Whoa! I do kind of like how they get into the realness. Sometimes they actually throw out some real comments. It does get some crowd reaction to it, and some good laughter out of it. Well, kinda. He posted. Actually, I'm gonna get up so I can read it.
He posted on Twitter that he was, he appreciated Raw and WWE, and he didn't want to close the door, basically, like he did back in 2010. He wanted to come back. So that's why I was kind of curious, like, what's going on, like, because we don't know. He's not officially released. He hasn't left. He just had another kid. So I mean, there's a lot going on. I follow him on Twitter because he posts a lot of good content, but it's just crazy that what they're doing.
He's posting.
I mean, it makes sense. They're probably just trying to push him out, maybe put him more backstage and not wrestle, because it's hard to watch someone that's pigeon-toed wrestle.
Have you been watching? Have you been reading? His Twitter continues to change. He posted December 9th. I know the slump and losses won't last forever. My countdown to Arcadia has begun. I will show up and do my job. We'll get past this together. That was one. I'm not going to read the rest of it. And then he posted again earlier yesterday. I needed to return to WWE to finish in the right way. I didn't want 2010 to be my final. I returned in the most epic way and repaid my debt. I waved the WWE flag with pride and worked hard to be a model employee. My conscience is clear and I'm at peace. Did he leave? Did something change? I don't think so.
That's why I texted you and I was like, hey, what is, because you're obviously up to date on Ringside or whatever it is, and I was like, did he leave? Like, what's going on here? It sounds a lot like he left.
I'm at my most motivated when people bet against me.
I think the biggest thing is he's probably a little concerned or upset that, they're not letting him do what they said he was probably going to do, which was have creative control over his character. And, now they're not even scheduling him on TV, and he probably thinks he has a lot of great content just like Bray Wyatt does. And he can release a lot of good stuff, but they're just not giving him the opportunity, which I understand. I mean, if they're not, then find someone that will.
True. I mean, but Matt Hardy's one of the ones that WWE wants to protect, and Matt Hardy's one of the wrestlers that AEW will go after. They may not go after Luke Harper or Sin Cara, but they're going to go after Matt Hardy. And WWE probably doesn't want it. I'm sure there's stuff going on behind the scenes that I'm unaware of. I
mean, doesn't WWE own the Broken/Woken thing now? Or is that... No, Matt Hardy owns it, so he could take it wherever he wants. So technically, he could go to AEW and release all the content.
TNA, I believe TNA owns Broken. Wait, WWE came back... He came back originally with Woken Matt Hardy.
Right.
And then
but he now owns Broken.
Right, but
he won that court case.
Yeah, he won it. And then so let's quick go over this weekend. We got a few minutes left. We got TLC going on this week. Sunday, we kind of went through some of the cards. Let's go through that real quick. The schedule matches for TLC right now. You got Bray Wyatt, the champion, going up against The Miz. Do we really think Bray Wyatt's going to lose the belt? No.
They're defeated, too.
And that's another hot. We'll save that for another one. I don't like what they're doing with The Miz at the moment. Women's Tag Team Championship. You got them going up.
The Kabuki Warriors.
Going up against Becky Lynch and Charlotte. Roman Reigns versus King Corbin. How many times are we going to see this? How many times are we going to see these two wrestling? It's over and over and over again.
Not till they get Roman Reigns to eat a dog will they end it.
SmackDown Tag Team Championship. The New Day versus Revival. I think New Day will keep the title. Rusev versus Bobby Lashley, tables match.
Oh, that's going to be a great match, and I hope Rusev wins. I know Rusev's going to win.
Aleister Black versus Buddy Murphy. No stipulation on that, so I guess it's just a normal match. And that is...
That it?
SmackDown Women's Championship, Bayley versus Lacey Evans. When are they going to give up on Lacey Evans? Can I ask that question? When are they just gonna be done?
I think she's great. I just don't think they...
Awful. If there is a little meme that can come up on the screen that would say awful, it'll be right now. Awful. She is awful.
Well, is that it for the card? Is that it?
That's it right now.
Wow, that is gonna be a very boring TLC. There's maybe one match on there that I'm interested in, and it's probably the Rusev Bobby Lashley one because I want to see Rusev win because he deserves better.
I would love to watch the Bray Wyatt and the Miz. I think that would be.
I know exactly what's gonna happen.
Well, that's the problem. You know what's gonna happen. You know the Miz. It's a cheap storyline in the middle of the Daniel Bryan Bray Wyatt storyline, and that's what I don't like about the Miz.
Basically, what I think they're doing is just gearing up for the Royal Rumble. They're just trying to salvage it before the Royal Rumble because once the Royal Rumble happens, then everything goes fast and leading into WrestleMania. So
the Miz
it's a
should
slow
be
time.
One of two things: A, the Miz should be the next Rock. Or B, the Miz should be one of the best heels in WWE because he was a great heel when he was a heel, and I think he has all the right attributes to be the next Rock in wrestling. He has the theme song, the awesome. He has all the catchphrases. He has the image. He has a Hollywood thing. He'd be the next Rock. So I don't really know what they're doing with him. So I wish they would.
Minus being incredibly jacked and tan.
Yeah, and having a great TV show on the USA Network, which, by the way, moved to Wednesdays.
Wait, who has that? The Miz?
The Miz? You never watched The Miz?
You watch that?
I've watched it. I've watched a little bit.
Well, you said it's great. You make it sound like you watch it every night.
I watched it when it first came out. I don't watch it all the time. The Miz and Mrs. moves to Wednesdays for season 2 on the USA Network. So there you go.
Oh, after NXT?
Must be, yep. Must be they go 10 o'clock on Wednesdays. All right. Anything else you want to before we close up? Kind of a short podcast here today. After some technical difficulties, someone's gonna get fired for those technical difficulties. It may be myself.
Fired.
We're gonna have to have.
We gotta get Dave on here to do that.
We're gonna have to have an internal meeting as to what those technical difficulties were that we were having.
Yeah,
earlier.
I know exactly who I'm talking to, and well, anyways, stay tuned. Me and Austin coming on next on the No Look podcast. We're just going to talk about whatever comes to mind, NFL, college, basketball, you name it. We're talking about it.
With all new graphics, by the way. All new graphics.
Yeah, well, I was gonna unveil that when my show happened, Dan. So thank you. I appreciate you ruining my surprise.
What do you mean?
Yeah, I was very excited about the new graphics, and I was gonna say something, but hey, since we're here, new graphics. Thanks, Tom, for taking time out of almost dying from the flu or whatever you had for those few days and making the graphic. It is extremely dope. Gives me what's the word for that? It's like good memories from NBA Street on GameCube.
Well, you don't have to go over the whole thing. Nostalgia. You just let me say that, nostalgia, and then you can save it to your program. The No Look podcast up next.
Why are you yelling at me?
I don't know.
Fuck you.
The No Look podcast up next. Make sure you follow and like us on. You can watch us live here on Twitch at Insane Video Games TV, or you can go right on to YouTube, watch our full episode at Insane Games TV. Make sure you follow us, subscribe, like us, whatever the option is for whatever the handle. But you can look us up anywhere on Insane Games TV. Ring the bell. We are off. No, we are here next week. We are here next week. And then we'll probably take the week off after that, and then we'll be back here first week January. Anything before we close up? Are we good to go?
We're good, baby.
Ring the Bell Podcast, Episode 2. Signing off. Stay tuned. No Look Podcast up next, right here, Insane Games TV.
Wicked absurd you don't do a ding-ding at the end of it or something.